Ha! You like Star Wars? The thing with the Ewoks, the Porgs, and all those stupid plastic toys? Isn't that for kids? Whilst it's true that a lot of the world of Skywalker's output is designed solely to put action figures on shelves and coins in Disney's pocket, there's plenty out there for the older fan to enjoy as well. Gripping storylines, well-written characters, intricate political drama, oh, and enough behind-the-scenes gossip and secrets to keep you occupied for several hundred years. While Star Wars is a great source of joy for many, it has plenty of darkness hiding away under the surface too. The Force will always be with you, folks, but these harrowing, rarely spoke about facts also won't be going away anytime soon. So I am Gareth from What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 dark facts about Star Wars that are never spoken about. Number 10, Sith lightsabers bleed. One way that the Star Wars universe helps differentiate between different Jedi is by giving them different coloured lightsabers. Okay, the real reason is so they can sell more toys, but let's pretend. This is not the case with the Sith though, as every force-wielding baddie in the series makes use of a red-bladed laser sword. But why is this? Well, it's not a particularly pleasant reason, to be honest. A lightsaber is powered by a kyber crystal, an extremely powerful force-sensitive item that bonds with its owner through the divine energy. The colour of a Jedi's lightsaber depends on the way in which they bond with their chosen crystal, but it's a very different process if you're on the naughty side. Sith cannot make their own lightsabers. Instead, they must corrupt existing ones by flooding it with dark side energy. This process is known as bleeding, and it's what gives the evildoers' weapons their traditional hue. Considering that the kyber crystals are kind of alive, the idea of them being bled in order to change colour is pretty damn disturbing. Number 9, the cut torture scene. What did that machine that Darth Vader used to torture Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back actually do? Like, it had all the needles and stuff, but where were they gonna go? Were they all gonna jam into Han's face all at once? Yeah, that would hurt, but that's a bit overkill, don't you think? We actually almost got more information on this odd device, as a much longer scene of Solo being tortured had to be cut from the final draft. Originally, we would have seen sparks shooting out of the machine, and heard a much more disturbing scream from our hero, until the powers that be stepped in. Director Irving Kershner explained that, when he showed the rest of the crew the machine in action, they felt it was a bit too much for a movie aimed at kids. Gotta think of the toy sales after all. In the end, the scene was pared back and the grisly details of Vader's work were left to our imaginations. Number 8, Zombie Stormtroopers. Whilst we're mainly going to be talking about main series entries on this list, we thought we'd take this opportunity to touch on a couple of the darker bits from the expanded Star Wars universe as well. Because why not? More specifically, the 2009 book Death Troopers, written by Joe Schreiber. At the start of the story, the Imperial prison ship Purge comes across the seemingly abandoned wreckage of a Star Destroyer. After a scouting trip aboard, they find out where everyone has gone. They've all been turned into zombies by an artificially created virus. Good, very good. The Blackwing virus was in its testing phase when it escaped captivity and overran the ship. Now the crew of the Purge and Han Solo and Chewbacca, who were just chilling there, must escape it and the legions of undead it has created. There are already plenty of scary things in Star Wars. Giant man-eating pits in the desert, horrifying snow creatures, Jar Jar Binks' accent. The last thing the series needed was a zombie-style virus running amok. What's that? The virus was made canon as part of the Star Wars Commander mobile game? Well, that's just great. Number 7, Carrie Fisher couldn't wear underwear. Much has been made of the iconic gold bikini that Princess Leia wore in the Tatooine portion of Return of the Jedi. Whilst it is undoubtedly a piece of cinema history, many have called it a demeaning addition to her character designed solely for the male gaze. Plus, there's all the stuff Carrie Fisher herself said about it, and if you don't know, go and look it up. At least she got to wear some form of underwear in this movie, as just a few years earlier that had been out of the question. When filming A New Hope, Fisher was instructed by George Lucas not to wear any underwear whilst in character. When asked why, the director responded that it was because bras and panties didn't exist in space. Something to do with skin expanding and then bras not expanding with them, apparently. To get around the issue of everyone seeing her nipples through her clothing, Fisher had to tape her breast to her body whilst filming. Just imagine how uncomfortable that would have actually been. Plus the whole dynamic of a powerful man telling a young woman to take her clothes off, just not cool at all. Number 6, R2-D2 and C-3PO hated each other. One of the most endearing relationships in all of Star Wars is the robotic friendship between R2-D2 and C-3PO. Originally brought together by Anakin Skywalker, R2 and 3PO might bicker like an old married couple, but deep down they clearly love each other and would do anything to keep the other safe. Sadly, if you go a little deeper than that, you'll find that the two men behind their characters did not get along at all. Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker have reportedly not liked each other since very early on. Baker allegedly referred to Daniels as the rudest man I have ever met, and claims that he was called Little Man by his co-star on account of his dwarfism. Daniels was also pretty harsh with his words towards his late co-star, once saying that working with Baker was like working with a bucket. Ouch. This is utterly heartbreaking, as the two droids' partnership is central to so many key parts of the Star Wars saga. It's like finding out your parents don't like each other. Whoops, that was meant to be a secret, moving on. Number 5, Harrison Ford almost died. Harrison Ford seems to be every bit the adventurer as his most famous film roles. A keen aviator, Ford has been involved in more near misses than many would be comfortable with, including crash landing on a golf course and almost smashing into a Boeing 737. We know you play Indiana Jones, but you're not actually him, Harrison. The star doesn't even need to be in a plane to court death, as was discovered whilst filming The Force Awakens in 2014. Whilst making his comeback as Han Solo, a hydraulic door fell on Ford and broke his left leg. Shooting was halted as a result, and the 71-year-old actor ended up requiring hospital treatment. Fudel's production accepted responsibility for the accident and were told in court that the door could have killed somebody. The fact that it didn't was because an emergency stop was activated. Ford was supposedly crushed by a piece of the Millennium Falcon set, which is ironic considering how often that ship has saved his character's life over the years. Number 4, David Prowse was banned from real-life events. The sinister original voice of Darth Vader belonged to renowned actor James Earl Jones, without whom the character wouldn't be nearly as legendary as he is today. But who was actually under the suit? That was Bristol-born actor and strongman David Prowse. At 6'6", Prowse was the perfect person to portray the menacing physical form of the Sith Lord. Although, thank God they got someone else to do the voice, because can you imagine someone saying "I am your father" in a West Country accent? Doesn't have nearly the same effect. Despite being an essential part of the Star Wars legacy, Prowse had a rocky relationship with Lucasfilm. He would publicly dress down George Lucas for replacing him in various parts of the films, and was even accused by the company of giving out plot spoilers for the original movies. As a result, in 2010, it was announced that Prowse was banned from all future official Star Wars events. When asked for a reason, Lucasfilm simply stated that he had burnt too many bridges. Although, to be honest, he could have just turned up, couldn't he? Nobody was going to stop a giant man from getting in. Number 3, Darth Vader is in constant pain. Sticking with Vader now, although this time we're talking about the character rather than the actor who played him. The backstory of Darth Vader is well-trodden ground. Anakin Skywalker was supposed to bring balance to the Force, but he went evil instead, killed a bunch of kids, and so Obi-Wan turned him into some human lasagna on Mustafar. Tale as old as time. The reason why Vader has to wear his famous black suit and helmet is because of those injuries sustained dueling his master. But surely no amount of space magic can overcome having all your limbs chopped off and being set on fire, right? The suit didn't actually take away his pain, in fact, it made it worse. As explained in the Star Wars Legends books, Palpatine designed the casing to keep his apprentice in constant agony, to drive his hatred and serve as a reminder of his loss to Kenobi. As if poor old Darth hadn't gone through enough already. Whilst this is perfectly fitting with Palpatine's sadistic nature, it's also pretty horrible to think about the continual torture Vader's body was going through. Almost makes you feel sorry for a guy who murdered children. Almost. Number 2, the original Return of the Jedi ending. It's well known that the final installment of the original trilogy was initially promoted as Revenge of the Jedi and not Return. This was because several people told George Lucas that Return was a weak title, but he eventually changed it back after deciding that the word revenge wasn't very Jedi-y. However, that's not the only thing he changed about this film, because he thought it was too grim. At one point in time, discussions were held between Lucas and co-writer Lawrence Kasdan about Luke taking Vader's helmet for his own after his daddy's death. Skywalker would confirm his passage to the dark side by destroying the rebel fleet and murdering all of his friends in cold blood. Now he is Vader. Ha 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 ha. Thankfully, this idea was scrapped and we ended up with the happy, dancing, playing drums on the skulls of our fallen enemies ending we all know and love today. Whether Lucas wanted to make the film more serious or add one last epic twist to the tale, we are all very grateful that Luke never went full evil. Number 1, Marcia Lucas. For all the credit George Lucas gets for bringing Star Wars to life, there's another person with that name who has been severely overlooked. Marcia Lucas is a film editor who has worked on movies like Taxi Driver and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. She also worked on all 3 of the original Star Wars movies alongside her then husband, George. She gave her spouse a few ideas that ended up making it into the final draft, including that Obi-Wan Kenobi should be killed by Darth Vader and serve as Luke's spiritual guide throughout the series. Lucas didn't want his wife working on his film because she was pregnant at the time, but brought Marcia in after he was dismayed at the first draft of Star Wars. Marcia got to work on sequences like the Battle of Yavin, creating history in the process. The sad part of all of this is that Marcia's name has largely been forgotten today. Her and George got divorced in 1983, and with that, her involvement in the universe came to an end. Hopefully this video can go a little way to bringing a little more attention towards this great woman and her outstanding work. So that is our list. Know any other dark facts about Star Wars that are never spoken about? Well, let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic Star Wars articles just like the one this video you're watching right this second is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you as always. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and hopefully I'll see your faces rather soon. Bye bye!